Big shout out to Tommy V in Michigan. He was on fire this morning.
Okay, thank you, Tommy V in Michigan. Yes, sir. If you share my prayers.
Tommy V's on. Yeah, we'll jump over there. How about that?
Case number 2306465 LT Uptown 11 Townhouses versus Jacqueline Hearns.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Cheryl Walker on behalf of the plaintiff.
Good afternoon. Coming up, Ms. Hearns.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, let's see. Now, this is our summary proceeding for non-payment of rent. Where's Paul?
I don't know.
You're supposed to have a court officer when you have a criminal docket. Nobody's everybody's supposed to. Okay, so this is a landlord-tenant matter. We've been here obviously before. In January, we were here, heard from Ms. Fountain. We had the exhibits as the ledger, the lease. And we were here March 11th and continued on with Ms. Fountain, I believe. And then we heard from Holly Rogers, whoever that is.
And Your Honor, Ms. Rogers is present again via Zoom.
Okay. They're still being. Well, she's not there yet.
Oh, she came in at 2, so let me.
Yeah, she might have left because we were doing all this other. And then we also had exhibit 3. Admitted, I don't have a note. Oh, what is that? Spreadsheet of resident statement and how it's all the billing is calculated. So that was admitted. And kind of sort of, we were on cross-examination of the witness. It's Rogers. So unless you were complete with Ms. Rogers, you probably were not finished working. Okay, so that's where we'll pick up today before we get her back here. Why is she on Zoom?
She's in Pennsylvania, or they're out of state.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. She was from
She's from Real Page.
The Real Page
yes.
People that set this whole thing up. Okay,
right.
Got it.
So I know she was on
4/17. Watch to see if she comes in. Just.
I'm sorry.
Watch to see when you got the witness.
Okay. My computer is gonna be set on its own. So,
It is?
Yeah, something just.
Oh, you got time.
Yeah. It's been 20 minutes.
So just
You can just have the phone numbers. Let me see if I can.
see one.
Okay. It's because the room off, I think. Because I started it.
I'm the host now, so it should.
Okay. Hey, Holly, it's Cheryl. Just wanted to see if you were on or either logged off or we're ready.
Is yours updated?
Your Honor, I want to make sure I gave her, it's Can we, since we're waiting for her, get arrested, I'm gonna need to draft, but,
She
I don't
hasn't
know if
finished with the witness.
no,
yet.
I know, but,
I'm not sure what we can do, but wait.
okay.
Okay, well, let's see. March 27th, there was $1,575. And then 2/21, there was $2,572.59. That's what we have.
Okay, thank you.
While we're waiting, I'd like to present something else outside of her. Is there a possibility that I can present something?
Present what?
Well, this case, the amount that we're fighting in this case was actually dismissed in the November case. So the
Okay.
amount of this case was dismissed on December 11th, 2023.
Okay, so what are you trying to say?
So there was a case that was established that case number LT 234881.
LT 23,
881.
okay.
That was on November 7, 2023.
I'll look it up. All right, so yeah, I see it.
Okay. That case was for a September real page balance transfer of $311.84, violation fee of $35 on September 26th, and then 2 late fees on October 4th and 9th of $50. We were supposed to attend court again in December 11th. However, there was an email that was sent on December 9th by Attorney Blockoff that said we are dismissing your case for the payments made by the end of November. I'm happy to review the bills with you in this case that are ongoing. This case right here was opened on December 13th, and it was for this amount that we just discussed, plus the November fees of November. And
So you're saying she's telling you that you'd already paid for the November part of the fees?
this case, the amount that was in this case,
In the
Is
first
actually-
case?
this would be the third case, because this is the third case that they brought against me. But, this on the third case what's in this fourth case is actually what they were fighting for in the third case that was dismissed as a result of this $311.84 real page bill that they had yet to credit or adjust because the audit was not completed at that time. So when I made the payment for those 2 months, they dismissed the case.
Well, my file says they dismissed it for no service and no progress. So I'm not sure what she told you, but that's what we dismissed it for. And maybe since she got no progress, she just said fine, because we were gonna dismiss it anyway. But it didn't get dismissed until February 8th of 2024.
Well, she sent an email. On this day, she did not, on the day of the court case, which is November 11th.
Saying that she was not gonna proceed, she was gonna dismiss it,
Correct.
but she didn't. We did. In February. So it was just still pending. Maybe she forgot to do it. Maybe she meant to do it. But she never proceeded with the case. It just was sitting there. So finally the court dismissed it. And we don't see any movement on a case after a certain amount of time. We send a notice of no progress dismissal.
God.
And that's what happened here. So maybe she meant to do it, didn't do it for whatever reason, and then the court did it. And she didn't object to it because she knew she wanted to dismiss it at the time anyway. But then this case came along and you're saying you think part of this case has something to do with what they were asking for previously.
Correct.
And you think that they were trying to credit you for some payments before?
Correct, they were supposed to adjust my.
What do you
bill.
know about that, Ms. Sawaka?
Your Honor, this was brought up before to the
Oh, was
court. Yes, and she made a payment on November 30th, left her a balance still, so that case was intended to be dismissed, but she still had a balance, and we filed a new case. She didn't pay the balance. She had another utility bill transferred over, and here we are, and we're at $8,000. So, you know, we'd be happy to accept escrow and have her vacate, which would cut her bill in half and be done with this. We would be very.
That's an offer.
It's an offer.
That also.
Did you hear the offer?
What she is referring to was a July case that was dismissed, that they were supposed to credit and fix, that they did not credit and fix or adjust until August, which is why there was a third case, which is why there was a fourth case, because on the first case, they were supposed to adjust the bill in April, and they didn't adjust it until August. So the reason why we have 4 cases is because they knew that there was a bill that needed to be fixed. They knew that it was incorrect, and they have yet to adjust it to correct it.
Your Honor, respectfully, we are on the case that is before the court. We're not on the first case, we're not on the second case, and we're not on the third case. We have made an offer. We'd love to have possession back. We have to take what's in escrow, and everybody goes their own way. That's what our offer is. If she doesn't want to take it,
Well,
that's fine. We'll
Do
proceed with
you
trial.
understand that they're offering to, they close the case out, they'll just keep the escrow money, they won't even go after the rest of the utility money, and then you could move.
And then I'll be
And then you
homeless.
wouldn't have any problem with this anymore.
No, because I'll be homeless and I wouldn't have anywhere to
Well, you
live.
wouldn't be homeless, you'd be,
Well,
just move to another place.
I can't move to another place because as a result of this, I'm no longer working.
What?
I'm no longer working.
As a result of this?
Yeah,
Why is that?
well, because I'm in sales and unfortunately I had to take off of work a lot to come here. And unfortunately, I did not sell. It's a lot more other things that's included with that, but this is a part of why I'm no longer working with the job that I had at the very beginning. So I can't move, unfortunately. My option is to stay here. They are free to keep that option on the table, so when I can move, I will, ASAP.
Well, the offer obviously to waive half of the rent is only valid if we settle it right now. And that's just the escrow money, so I mean, she could take all the money she hasn't paid. Take it to move.
Well, I don't know what she's got money wise, it's not my business, I guess, but the bottom line is, it is a nice savings. Because I don't know what I'm gonna rule here, I'm gonna look at everything once we're done, and you might end up owing more than what the escrow amount is, and then would have to pay that, and if you're not working, that would be a bigger chunk of money with only 10 days to pay it.
I'm aware, Your Honor. However, they were aware that there was an issue from the very beginning of me moving in. They were aware. They knew that there was an issue. At some point.
Okay, well, let's just look long term down the road. Let's just say we listen to everything, the court listens to everything. We look at whatever the evidence is from the real page lady. Oh, she's here. And then we come up with some figure that says something is due. Because the odds are it's probably not gonna be 0, but I don't know for sure. I'm just saying, what if, it's almost never 0. So then we'd have a figure that's due. And if it's more than what you gotta ask her, you gotta still come up with a chunk of money to pay that with 10 days. So then you still might be homeless. Either way. But at least you might be homeless the first way with a lot less money to pay. Well, that's the way to look at it, I guess. I mean, homeless is not good either way. I'm just trying to balance some of the factors for you when you're considering it. And I don't know if you'd have enough left for a down payment on a new apartment,
Enough left from where?
whatever you've got saved, I'm just saying. Because you're making the escrow payments with something, even though you're not working. So rather than making the escrow payments for the next month, you'd have that to put down as a down payment on a new place. Something to think about.
And we would enter it as a conditional dismissal, so she does
She would not have a
judge.
judgment, so you would be able to move.
It's your fault though. Like.
Okay, let's not get so caught up in the particulars that you're going against your own best interests in the bigger picture. So what? It might be their fault. Let's just say it is. They should have done something. They should have adjusted number. Let's just say that's all true. And they didn't. But I'm here today, and let's just say I agree and I adjust the numbers. I'm still gonna come up probably with some number that is due. And if it is more than what you got in the escrow, you're gonna have to cough up that. And she's saying right now is more because they're looking for like, all of these months of rent that go to 8,000 with the utilities. So she's willing to cut that down to, I don't know, what's in escrow, 3,000?
4,147.
So she really cut it to just what you've already got sitting here, which you're not really missing to a large degree because it's already sitting here. And you wouldn't have to cough up 4,000 more if it came to the point that the court agreed with them totally. Even if I didn't agree totally with them and I gave you a cut and said, yep, she's right. These figures don't make sense. It could still be another 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 off the 8 that she's saying that you owe. Then you got 10 days to find the 5. Whereas the way it is now, whatever the monthly rent is, that's what you're putting in escrow. So it's a lot less than 5. And you wouldn't even have to do it. So you could save that escrow for the next month because the case would be done if you would agree to it. You got that money to go ahead and move with.
Not in a position that I can.
And I would just,
Ma'am, I don't know if you're in a position to get evicted either.
If
the
I,
judgment will enter.
Moving at least is you take your own things. Eviction is if you can't move your own thing, they come and set it all out. It's not pretty. I don't like it. I don't like to order it, but that's what the law says, and that's what they do.
So how can I be compensated for this? For all of what I've been through in the last
Well, ma'am,
year?
this is not that kind of lawsuit, trying to be compensated for what you've gone through. This is the landlord simply saying, you owe rent, and part of that is these utilities that have been calculated in this way that we're talking about. And the question is, how much of that is right versus how much of that is not right? It should not be attributable to you. That's really the question. How much of those utilities? So we're listening to evidence on how they get calculated. And you're getting put on whatever you want to put on in that regard. And then the court has to make a decision. There's no case here for you suing them for compensation. That's not even part of the case. I mean, not you free to talk to a lawyer to see if you think you've got a claim for that because of the fact that they did not give you the credits the way you thought they should have. But I don't know if that's actionable. You'd have to talk to a lawyer for that to see if you had some kind of claim. But I know one thing is not part of this case right now. Doesn't mean if it's available as an option, doesn't mean you can't do it down the road, but it's not a part of this case. And I'm just thinking out loud, you don't have to do anything. Nobody's really pressuring you. But I'm thinking how it kind of might benefit you if you could move, because this case is eventually got to be over. And I eventually got to look at these numbers and make a decision. And if it's 8,000 on the table right now, and even if I give you, like I said, some kind of credit, I mean, we know you got to owe something. The question is it as much as they say? And let's just say it's not. They give you some credit to your benefit. Let's just say it's $2,000 worth of credits. It's still, that leaves you with $6,000 that you would have to come up with in 10 days or get evicted. So do you want to, let's just hypothetically, you want to go with the $6,000? We went to trial. I made a decision on it. I reduced it. Let's just pretend it's $6,000. You want to go to $6,000 or $5,000 with a move out date 10 days? Or do you want to consider the $4,000 is already here, call it a wash, a dismissal, so there's no judgment, because you will be getting a judgment if I say there's anything to do. You get a dismissal with no judgment, and you work with them for a move out date that's probably a little more than 10 days.
I just want to stay on my unit. I love where I live. I love where I live. I pay my bills on time, all of them. My rent is paid on time.
I get
My
it.
energy,
You're supposed to love where you
insurance is
live.
paid on time.
But the question is, in your mind, that you have to think of, would you have the $5,000 or $6,000 that I could come up with in 10 days to stay there anyway? Because it's not like if you win, it's gonna be possibly zero and you get to stay and pay nothing, then that'd be great, yeah. But the odds of that are probably slim that it's gonna be zero that you owe. I don't know what it's gonna be because I haven't looked at it. We haven't even finished the case. I'm just saying the odds of it being totally zero is probably slim. And then you'd have to stay where you love, you'd have to come up with this bigger figure than 4,000, arguably bigger. I don't know that for sure, but I'm just making the case. Or move. At least this, they just want what you already got here, and they're good with it. Or you can let them pursue the whole 8 and see where it falls. And then once I make the decision, you got 10 days to pay it. And to me, if I'm thinking out loud, I would think that you love the place, but you're living in a circumstance where you don't like the way that water bill's calculated. Why would you really want to stay there then? Because the water bill is not calculated the way you think it should be. You're not getting the credits that you think you should be getting. Why would you want to stay? And you can walk away with arguably $4,000 credit in your pocket that you don't have to pay.
It's the water.
Okay. So you think you got, whatever I come up with, you think you're gonna have that money when we finish this case and be able to stay?
I think my back is against the wall no matter what option I have in front of me. I really do. I'm a single mom as well, with 3 children.
Yeah.
That are all in school. No matter what option I take right now, my back is against the wall. My back has been against the wall since the very beginning when I moved in. So I don't have an option. I don't, none of the options sound great.
Yeah.
So
Well, to me, putting an extra $4,000 possibly out there is not good, that you might have to pay. And if you can't pay, you don't have a place to go. And then you still get evicted because you're not moving yourself. You're letting them put you out. Then you're losing stuff that you already got. This is something to think about. My job is to try the case. Now, I gave you my thoughts on why it might be to your benefit. You're saying you can't do it. So we'll just try the case and see how it comes out. And the witness is here. How you doing, Miss Rogers? Thank you for calling back in. All right, so let's pick up with the cross-examination of Miss Rogers. Miss Rogers, raise your right hand. Yeah, you can take your mute off.
Yeah, I was trying to take it off. Right hand. Thank you.
Can you see me good?
I can.
Can you see? Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much. And why don't you state your name and spell your name again for the record?
Holly Rogers, Holli, last name Rogers, Rogers.
Okay, and I think we got all the background information previously when Ms. Rogers testified. So I think we can start right back in on cross-examination by the defendant. And hold on, let me make so she can see. I don't know if she can see everybody there.
I can see now. Yes.
And you need to just step to the podium so she can see. It's afternoon. Mhm.
Good afternoon, Holly.
Good afternoon.
For the record, I just prefer we call her Ms. Rogers and we give a little more formal.
Good afternoon, Ms. Rogers.
Hi, good afternoon.
Before when we spoke, you mentioned that you had to do a little research to familiarize yourself with the bill prior to December. Is that correct?
I needed to pull those months of billing. They weren't part of the case previously. Yes.
Your Honor, can I just ask that we cross, I mean, we went down.
I don't really know what we're not
I
doing.
know, but.
Can we just let her start, please, Ms.
Go ahead.
Markov?
Sure.
And so I can figure out what she's doing. I don't
Sure.
even know. I just see she's cross-examining and you want me to sit back and read all your direct to figure out what
No,
if
no,
the
no, but
question is
she's-
right.
That's normally
She's just
not.
kind of laying a foundation. She just asked her a question. Did she have to go back and look at some billing? I don't see a problem with that. Go ahead. Go for December. Go ahead.
At some point, RealPage admitted the occupancy count was incorrect. Is that correct?
That is not correct.
Are we referring to any exhibits or anything at this point?
Um,
I know she had some with the occupancy counts and things on it.
yes, I'd like to present a email that I received on May 24th. Let's submit this to you first.
May 24th of what year?
May 24th, 2023.
From whom to you?
This email is sent from Heather to me. Can I mention who you are?
You know, Your Honor, the problem is Heather's not on the stand, Ms. Fountain's not on the stand, so I don't necessarily have an objection to an email, but I don't think Ms. Rogers can testify as to what.
Well, okay, but what is it
Well,
that you?
the email just mentions that there were water bill issues. So from my understanding, Heather, who works with Uptown, mentioned that there are water bill issues, that there was an incorrect occupancy account according to my ledger, the ledger that was submitted by attorney.
Okay, well, she doesn't have any objection. I mean, I can admit it. That's your exhibit A.
So based upon my knowledge, there
Okay,
was.
you have to make sure that this witness is able to answer whatever you're trying to ask.
Yes, do I admit these yet?
These are
Yeah.
two different documents, I'm not,
Exhibit A for, I think that's your
That is
first.
the ledger.
no, I understand
That's
that.
the ledger. That
It's
is-
your
that is
email.
the
Was this
Is
an
it exhibit?
attachment to
Yes, ma'am.
this?
Which is why it's highlighted
Yep.
right here.
I understand the objection to that.
Okay, so A is admitted.
Excuse me. Do I give this to you?
If it's a copy of that,
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
all right, so we got your exhibit. Do we have the exhibit stamp anyway? This is, both of these pages are A?
Do you want this?
Yes. Give it to me. I was here till 8 o'clock last night.
No, 9.
Yeah, I was here till 9 o'clock last night for the trial. So I'm just telling you, I don't have a lot of patience today. Usually I got a ton of patience.
I know
So
you do.
today, I don't,
Okay.
because we're
I
all
appreciate the
tired.
warning.
So I'm just
Okay.
saying, I might have to cut this off short and come back.
Your Honor, I think my client will absolutely have a heart attack if that happens, so let's just move, I will try and limit my objections. for the-
Okay, all right, so this is gonna be defense A. All right, go ahead. What's the question for Ms. Rogers?
So, you know, I have to admit, I'm a little confused now because based upon this email that I received, there was water bill issues. Based upon my ledger that was also submitted, there was a credit on the ledger for wrong occupant count with RealPage. And now you are saying that my occupant count was not incorrect?
Your Honor, the problem is the ledger is Ms. Fountain. So we can let, I have no problem with
She
Ms.
can still
Rogers
answer the
answering the
question.
question.
Yeah.
So the occupant count for your unit comes from the property management system. We use whatever occupant count they provide to us to calculate your statement. If there was a question about the occupancy count, it wouldn't be with us, it would be with the property management company.
Well, I am aware of that, Ms. Rogers. However, I was told that the reason that the bill was incorrect as of February and March was because of an occupant count that was incorrect.
Asked and answered, Your Honor. I mean, she just said,
I can't.
she goes by the system.
I'm telling her what I was told.
Okay, but what do you want her to do with what you're talking?
So,
Because she doesn't know anything about that.
correct.
They just
So-
use whatever they're given.
So if that's incorrect, to me, it invalidates a lot of what they were saying.
Okay, well, this is an argument just yet. This right here is just your opportunity to get facts and information from Ms. Rogers.
Correct. Okay. So on May 24th, that's still their email. See, the problem, Your Honor, is that there are two separate and distinct companies, and neither one of them are on the same page. So neither one of them can answer any questions of what either one of them are doing. But my occupancy account.
Well, apparently from what I can,
Was there an audit done?
okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Was there an audit done on Uptown 11 property?
I
Objection.
can't, I don't know.
Really, who did the audit? When was it done?
Did RealPage complete an audit
Okay,
in 2013 regarding the water
the water, a specific
bill?
water bill.
Regarding the water bill for the unit, for the complex. Was there an audit completed?
I'm not sure what you are referring to by an audit.
Was the RealPage bill looked at to determine if the occupancy account was accurate for each unit at Uptown 11 apartments?
For your specific unit or the entire property?
For the entire property?
I am not aware of an audit, but that doesn't mean one did or didn't happen. I'm not aware of it. If there would have been an audit, it would have been requested by the property management company, and it would have audited the occupants that they have in their system that transmits to us and helps us to calculate utility bills.
Okay, so there were credits on my account as of February and March. Can you tell me why my account was credited?
First of all, objection to what year we're talking about, Your Honor. And I would like to just refresh the court's recollection of my continuing objection. This is not part of this lawsuit. We filed a lawsuit that includes December rent.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, but I think,
I just want to make sure you.
yeah, I think you said you filed it including December forward, and her argument was that it was from December forward was still all incorrect because of these credits not ever having been done from further back. That's right. Yeah, I remember that. And I think I allowed her to ask the question.
You did. So my objection right now is what year is she talking
Yeah,
about?
what year are you talking about?
2023.
What months again? I forgot.
February and March 2023.
Yeah, do you know why there were any credits given to her account in February
Yeah.
and March of 23?
Yes.
Okay,
Per the emailed information from Angela at the property, the resident was charged for 4 occupants instead of 1 for January of 2023 to April of 2022. There was a credit of $721.26 applied to her account for the difference.
how much was it?
$721.26. That is
Okay.
what we were told, not what the property management system communicated to us. This was after the fact. They asked us to change her occupant count to 1, which we did. We gave her the credit of $721.26. Again, I don't know if Andrea was doing that as a concession, if she really didn't have 4 occupants in the unit, but at the time the client requested us to change the occupant count to 1. That's what RealPage did, which resulted in the $721.26 credit on her account.
So, when was my occupancy account changed to 1?
I don't know that it was ever changed in the property management system. We did a recalculation of those statements from January, February, March, and April. We did a manual calculation to get that to 1 occupant. Those bills were already out the door, and like in order to go back in time, we don't re-pull in information from the property management system.
As of May, what was the occupant account?
May of what?
As of May of 2023.
She already testified, it's always been 4. It's never
It's always
changed.
been 4 in our
As of
system.
September, just to confirm, as of September, the occupancy account was also 1?
September, what date?
September 2023.
Let me go look at your statement.
Mischaracterizing the testimony, she's testified it's always been 4. Ms. Hearns just said, and was it also 1?
Yeah, I'm confused. What's
It's
the
always
occupant?
been 4. Well, let the witness testify.
Okay, for what I'm hearing, Ms. Rogers, the occupant count was 4 in the system, but you gave a one-time credit somehow retroactively without really changing that count
Right.
to consider if it had been 1 for the months of January through April
That's correct.
of 2022. And then it still remained at 4 after that.
Right. The very next month we billed for 4 occupants, right? Because that's what's in their system.
September 2023, there was a property utility bill cap. Is that correct? Applied to the consumer's bill?
Yes, there was a property cap put in place for the entire property.
As of September?
I would have to go, I think I'll have to go back to another file. I don't know that I know the exact date of when that change went into effect.
Your Honor, Ms. Hearns asked about consumers. I don't think that that's what she meant, but I just want to make sure we're clear.
You said consumers. What did you mean?
I'm sorry, I meant the real page for the water bill.
Thank
My
you.
apologies. Thank you so much.
Are you talking about the cap that was put into place to cap the water bill?
That's what she said
Correct.
in September.
Okay, let me look to see if I have that. I don't know if I have the exact date. I can ask someone real quick. Let me see if it's on one of the previous files. Actually, I can look at your resident statement to see when the cap went into effect. The first statement that I see the cap on your account would have been for service dates September 1 to September 30th, and you received a $38.27 credit as a property cap.
This cap, when it gave my credit, I calculated my total bill that was due as $160.43. Is that your calculation also?
I showed that your bill was $26.18 for gas recovery, $113.62 for sewer, $80.58 for water, a credit of $38.27, a $4.50 admin charge, and a $50 penalty fee for not having the gas in your name. So the total amount was $236.61 for that bill.
So as far as.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. So the total was how much?
$236.61.
And what did you say? The gas recovery was $26.18, and then you gave another fee just right after that. What was
There's
that?
a $4.50 admin fee and a $50 utility recovery fee.
No, you said $26.18 gas recovery. Then you said something else. Then you said an $80.58 water credit.
No.
Sewer.
So
Do you want me to share
Was
my
there sewer?
screen? Let me share my screen.
yeah, because I wasn't getting the numbers right. So
There's a sewer charge.
what was the sewer charge?
Yeah, she can share her screen, Your Honor, because I feel like we're all kind of trying to scramble this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you guys
sure.
see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Now can you see it?
Okay.
The utility bill?
Yes.
So you have a balance forward from the previous month of $411. There was a payment made of $200 and a balance transfer of $384. So that left you a balance forward of $100. This month's charges, $26.18 for gas, $113 for sewer, $80 for water, a credit of $38.27 for water, a $4.50 charge here for the admin charge, and a utility recovery charge of $50 for a total of $236 for your current charges, which because you had a $100 credit, your amount due was $136.61.
Perfect. Okay, now for this bill here, if we calculated just the sewer and the water with the admin change and the property cap fee, which is what this bill usually is on a monthly basis, correct? It usually consists of the sewer, the water, the property utility bill cap, if there is a fee, if there is one, the admin and the admin charge. Is that correct? That would be the normal monthly bill.
That is what was on your prior bill, but not this month's bill.
Correct. So on the prior bill, that was there, correct? And those amounts would add up to $160.43, correct?
I'm doing the math now.
Just come up with my this. That's on a folder up there.
It's just something that I So we've got 113.62 plus 80.58. That's 194.20 for your water sewer expense. That's what is capped. And I can go look up the cap amounts. I think I shared it the last time we were in court. what the cap schedule was, that if it's a certain amount, you get a certain amount of credit. Let me go find that document.
It's fine.
Okay.
For the next bill, there was also a cap credit. This is the November bill.
Correct.
That cap credit would have been $17.77, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so with the normal charges of the sewer,
It's hard for me to follow any of this, I'm just
I'm
telling
sorry.
you. I don't know what's going on. So
And
the
it's not
questioning
part of our-
is not helping me to figure this out because I don't have anything I'm looking at to know what.
this is,
She has something that she's
Can I-
putting on the screen
Can I-
that kind of was helping me.
can I bring this to you?
And
This
what is
is
it?
what she just put on the screen.
I
This is
just
a
put it
copy.
back up here. So this was the month that she was talking about, right? This is the $36 credit where she owes $136.61. And we tell her if that amount is not paid by 10/24, it's going to go up to $151. So we get to the next month. Beginning
And
statement
that month,
130.
wait a minute, was that month we just talked about September?
It's the due date October 20.
But it was for September.
It was
charge.
for the
It's for
September.
September service dates, yes.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may, we're trying to just get to a factual agreement or disagreement. The ledger, which is what our case in chief is based on. Why this is so confusing is you're working off of all these different documents. The ledger shows what was transferred over. If there's a question about a specific amount transferred onto the ledger, I think it'll be useful to go back to see where it came from. But I feel like we can go through every single bill here and it's not going to get us anywhere because we're ultimately have to go by the ledger.
Well, all of the reason why it was transferred is because of this. So this is the amount that was transferred. So in order to understand the ledger, which is the number that you're referring to, you have to understand the amount that was transferred. You can't understand the amount that is transferred and why it was transferred until you see this particular document.
I don't know.
I'm just submitting that if we look at the ledger, then we can refer back if there's a question. However the court wants to proceed, there have been multiple transfers over of utilities.
Well, to the
Everyone-
extent that she wants to know exactly each month, why, what the amounts were.
That's fine.
And I mean, I can understand it now that I'm looking
Now
at
that you're looking
something.
at it.
It makes it a little easier, so.
And then
Yeah.
the thought is, so the thought is that the amount that they agreed was a fixed amount, which is the 160.43. They agreed that as of the September bill. Prior to September, the bill was much higher than that. Why wasn't the bill adjusted prior to that?
Ms. Rogers, if you understand the question, feel free to answer it. I don't, but.
I don't understand.
Okay, that's okay. Let's look at some previous.
Are you, I'm sorry, are you asking why your water and sewer bill in 1 month was either more or less than it was the prior month? Or are you asking, or are you asking why the gas charges were included? That, I think that's where I don't understand. Because your bill is calculated based on the utility expense, and the utility expense and the rate of those utilities fluctuates every month.
So that's a twofold question. Thank you so much for explaining that. That is a twofold question. The first, as far as the sewer and the utility recovery charge, it was determined by consumers, which there is an email in here. It was determined by consumers that was incorrect. It was also determined that once it was incorrect, that would be adjusted to reflect the real page amount. Was that amount adjusted on the real page side?
I don't know what document you're talking about, what email, but Consumer Energy, as of this date, they showed this was your move-in, and they show that for this service period, you did not have the utility in your name. Therefore, RealPage, on behalf of the client, bills you for the gas that you used in your apartment. because you didn't have it in your name and consumer did not send you a bill directly in the mail. If there was something that was worked out between you and the property and consumer actually had that bill in your name, then there would have been a credit. I'm not aware of that.
So you're saying that you are not aware that the consumer bill was incorrect?
Not based on anything that I'm seeing here in this month or this month. I do see that, so the next month you again had the gas charges. And then
Which month are you talking about?
so this was the first. So the first month that she had the gas charges, right? So this month for service period August, there's no gas, right? Then for the bill due, these are the September charges. We get the bill for consumer energy. That's when we started billing the gas back to you. Then the next month, again, your water sewer bill and your gas bill. The next month, water sewer and gas. The next month, there is no gas because consumer energy did not bill the property for your gas expense. Either you didn't use any gas or they put the gas bill back in your name or somebody's name, but we did not receive that bill. Now, I don't know what happened there. I don't. I would have to, I don't know if somebody's there from the property that knows if there was a credit on the ledger to adjust for that. I'm not aware of that.
Your Honor, just to short circuit this, we could give judicial notice here. We have provided a credit on the ledger for this consumers. The parties here, not Ms. Rogers, you told Ms. Hearn she needed to subpoena someone from consumers, but just to short circuit all this.
Okay.
There seems to have been an issue where consumers said that Ms. Hearn didn't have it in her name. I don't believe it was Ms. Hearn's fault. RealPage has nothing to do with this. It was reported to RealPage that way. We provided a credit on the ledger for this consumer issue.
Well, the problem is it's a credit on the ledger, however, it's not a credit on RealPage. So RealPage is still charging a fee, and RealPage is assessing late fees because it's not credited on RealPage's side, which
Well, it was
Uptown,
already transferred over. So once it gets transferred over, it goes
The credit
clears off,
applies. Yes.
and then it's on our ledger, and we gave the credit on our.
but it wasn't transferred over until January.
It was,
This is September,
this was transferred. There was a transfer here.
which is January, but this is an issue from September. So your issue from September still caused an October fee, it still caused a November fee, it still caused a December fee, because it was not transferred over into January 24th, which now causes a fee for Uptown, and it also caused, again, more late fees. And then Uptown credited their side, but I'm still being assessed fees on RealPage's side, which is not credited because I sent this information to Uptown multiple times, and Uptown never sent this information to RealPage because she's not aware that any of this had taken place.
It was all credited on the ledger. So
On what ledger?
On the landlord ledger, once it was transferred. So if there was a $4.50 charge, whatever that was, it should have all been credited. If not, we will certainly credit something like that. But everything was late. It wasn't just the consumer. So if there's a late charge.
Right. And the $15 late fee is assessed if there's a dollar that's not paid. If the entire balance isn't paid, there's a $15 late fee. So even if you paid part of the gas bill and you didn't pay everything, you would have assessed the late fee.
I'm not sure, Your Honor, even if you want to see this, but these are emails that they were aware that it was a problem, that we were waiting to get this fixed. There are more emails that we were waiting to get this fixed. They've been sending me emails since
Okay,
Heather
but I
has
guess,
been sending.
who are these emails concerning? This witness?
It's the emails are
Because
concerning,
this isn't your case.
the
you
emails
just-
are concerning real page.
Okay,
So-
but I
so
guess
they're-
my question is, you just can't just bring emails unless they relate to the witness at hand. If the witness at hand can testify about it. If the
Well-
person doesn't know about it, then you might want to save those until the person who does know about it is on the stand at that time, whether it's you gonna testify or someone else. Or now you can certainly ask her questions about something that basically is derived from the email, but she hasn't seen these emails, so she wouldn't know.
So the January bill, you mentioned, the amount had been transferred, January 2024. Correct?
The 311, is that the one we're talking about? The 314
January,
statement date January 3rd?
correct, the 314 have been transferred,
Mhm.
and there's a late fee on this account as a result of that, correct?
I don't know, I don't even have this bill, and I don't know what you're talking about, there's a transfer. I can't see it.
This is the February, this is the December and January bill.
Your Honor, I would stipulate to waive any $15 late charge that has been assessed to move this along. I have no problem doing that. I think we already did credit it, but I would happily.
Yeah, she's got one for January, looks like December and January.
I mean, the payments, it's not just the consumers, but it just for ease of moving this along, we will waive the $15 charge.
But Attorney Knopfler, that's all I've asked you to do was to fix the bill. I've asked that numerous of times. I sent you an email in
Okay.
August. All I've asked you to do is fix the
Ma'am,
bill, raise
ma'am.
the fees.
Quit chastising her now,
I'm
she just
sorry.
made an offer,
Yes,
and she,
I will
that's
accept.
trying to take care of this issue.
I will accept.
So they're gonna waive all the $15 late fees that show up on these bills.
But as a result of these, it's also the fees from Uptown, which is the $50 every month, $100 every month. That's what's.
Your Honor, again, I'm just trying to move this along. I mean, our case shows she hadn't been paying the bills. It's not just this consumer's issue. I'm just.
Right, so
I'm
she's saying
sorry,
it's
what-
all of what's on the real page
What
bill, not
bills
just
are you
consumers.
saying that I have not paid? Because
But
I
hold
have-
on,
I'm
hold
sorry.
on. This is what I think we're gonna do. Do we have any more
Yes.
questions for this lady here?
Yes, we do. So we
Because
can-
quite
Yes.
frankly, we need to go sit down in another room and hammer out
Yes.
what fees you're talking about, what she's willing to waive, and see if we can settle this thing. That's
Yes,
what
we
needs to happen. But I don't wanna hold this lady,
Yeah,
Miss
absolutely.
Holly, up.
I apologize, Your Honor. I
If there's something you
apologize,
need from her.
Ms. Rogers. I apologize. So we did acknowledge that the property utility bill cap was applied in September. And it's not. That's what I was looking at the bills for. I was looking at the bills so that we can confirm that the amount of the average bill after the property utility cap was $160.43. Is that correct? If we looked at the October bill, the November bill, the December bill, if we did not include the consumers' bills, is that average amount $160.43?
I would have to go calculate every one of them up. I can tell you that when is the question about the cap or your average bill?
Does the cap give the average bill of $160.43? How about this? I have already added it, it does.
The cap
I'm
has
sorry.
nothing, I'm sorry.
Okay,
the
so
cap-
you asked them questions and you answered.
I'm sorry, I was
You
trying to
can't
make
do
it
that.
quicker.
You
No,
can't do
that
that.
doesn't work.
See,
I'm sorry,
just,
I'm sorry. Trying to speed it up.
you can't speed it up by testifying when you can't testify till it's your
Okay.
turn.
I'm sorry.
Now you're just slowing us down.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, let her answer.
Let her answer.
Right.
Let me repeat the question for the witness.
Yeah, I think the question is the average amount of the bill, once you include the cap and you don't have the consumer's energy bill on there, is that usually 160.43?
If you can answer that, Ms. Rogers.
I can't answer that without going and calculating it up, but I just want to state that the cap has nothing to do with the average bill, if there's confusion there.
No. So then. We have the bill dated 9/26/2023. Can we show that?
$9.26. The statement date, is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a statement date of 9/5.
The due
And
date.
this one, 9/26. Is this the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
We have a balance of bill charge of 160.43.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. On 10/24/2023, if we added the sewer of 113.62, the water of $80.58, the admin charge of $4.50, and we subtract the property utility bill of $38.22. That also equals $160.43.
I'm not judging. She's making her do on-the-spot calculations. I don't even know what the point is. This is cross-examination. I don't even know what we're trying to prove here or where we're going.
Here's the point. After the audit, the bill came up to $160.43. Prior to that, the bill was much more.
She's already testified she doesn't know about an audit, so this is
Well,
not.
that's a fact that's not even in evidence. There's
Right.
no audit.
And
That
this
we
wasn't
know
the
of,
month,
because she
and this
didn't know.
wasn't the month in question for the occupant count.
Okay. The first bill, when did I receive the first bill from RulePage that did not include any incorrect fees or charges or any additional fees outside of the normal bill? Let's call it that.
Well, what's the normal bill?
The normal bill is the sewer, the water, property utility bill cap, if there is one, and the admin charge.
Is that what you're saying the normal bill is?
Is that the normal bill? The average bill that it should have been?
So your very
If you
first
can.
bill, there was no balance forward, no penalty fee. You were due to pay $316 before the 24th of 2023. The very next bill wasn't paid in time, got a late fee. Now you've got current charges, so now you owe $671. Now the next bill, you owe $671. You were given a credit of $686.72. Balance transfer, not a credit. We transferred that balance. $15 penalty because it wasn't paid on time. Now, the next month, Cheryl, correct me if I'm wrong, but on the ledger, wasn't there a credit for those first months of utilities? Because now we're back down. So there was no payment made. We transferred a balance of $600. We transferred a balance of $600, plus she had $300. And then all of a sudden she only owes $352. I believe we saw on the ledger that there was a $600 and that this amount that we transferred was credited. Is that correct?
That is correct. And Your
Okay,
Honor,
well, who's
that's on the record.
testifying
I
here?
know, but
The
just-
lawyer or the witness?
Your Honor.
No, I wanted to make sure, like, I didn't have I wanted to make sure that that was
Oh,
what I
if you don't know,
understood.
you can't ask the lawyer. She's not a witness. You gotta go from what you know.
Okay, here's what I know. That there was a balance transfer of $686.72. And there was a credit to credit the resident for those utility expenses on her ledger. So she didn't have to pay those utilities. So now she only owes the $337. And that wasn't paid in time. So there was a $15. And then it continues to go forward.
Here's a question I have, can you tell me how many meters are on this property?
What
How
kind
many
of
meters?
How many meters for the utilities?
For all of you, all the various.
Just the property for the water and the sewage. There's supposed to be meters, is that correct? That determines the calculations?
There are meters with the city of Southfield that they use to
Correct.
measure how much water is being used, but I don't
Is
have
that-
the number of meters off the top of my head for this property or the number of accounts.
Is that information sent to RealPage to calculate?
The utility bills are sent to RealPage to enter to come up with a sum of the total utility expense, which we went through last time, total utility expense minus the CAD and how that is calculated.
Correct. But we did determine that it is not calculated per building, correct? Which it states in the lease it should be. Well, let's answer that question. We did determine it's not calculated by building.
The utility expense is calculated by the entire building, the entire property of Uptown 11, because the utility bills that we receive are not necessarily tied to a specific building. There's not a way.
But you guys do receive it per meter, correct?
We receive it per account.
You receive a total bill
We receive,
per account?
yes, we receive multiple accounts for each utility that comes up with a total utility expense, which was on the file that we shared last time.
So there are separate bills per building.
Not per building. It is not per building.
So I guess, let me ask, because I'm a little confused now, because I spoke to Southfield Water and Sewage, and they stated that legally it is per building. So is it different here?
Your Honor,
Well, that comes into play because I shouldn't be charged for other people's water.
Ms. Rogers obviously testifies to what you know.
That she doesn't know. Okay.
Done with her, not.
Did you want to say something, Ms. Rogers?
We use the utility bills that are provided by the city of Southfield, and they are not all by building. Some of the buildings share an account, which is why the utility bills are combined so that all of the utilities are allocated to all the residents fairly based on the occupant factor, which is the number of occupants that are in a unit.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Or just ask if the court has any questions.
Oh, I probably do, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
What I really want to know. I have to sit down and look at this because I was totally confused. I'm gonna have to listen to the whole tapes again, just to figure out what is going on, because I'm not even sure what the argument is that Ms. Hearns is making about all this. So I've got to figure it out. So right now, I don't think I have any questions because I just don't know.
I don't have any questions for Ms. Rogers. I certainly appreciate her time. I just am slightly hesitant to have her leave. But if Ross is done and.
You don't have any questions, and I don't know that I have questions, so.
Okay, well, Ms. Rogers, as always, thank you so much.
Sure. If you need me to jump back on, just let me know. I'm happy to do so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, any more witnesses for the plaintiff?
Well, I have to redirect on some things from last couple times. And I also need to submit a new letter of evidence. So
You're talking about Miss Fountain?
yes. Just a few things, Your Honor.
Hold on a second, let me just take a quick break here.
Sure.
I'll be right back.
A few moments later.
Ladies, judge would like to see you in the law library.
Okay.
You as well. And I'm not sure if that door is open, so you can follow me. I'll take you to the back.
Should we bring everything or just
I think so.
okay.
Yeah, you can grab your stuff, whatever your notes you want to. Yeah, you did. Yeah, that's a good one, you guys did. I think that's what she's gonna fit in there. Okay, yeah. No,
You won't have it.
no.
Was it
criminal
yesterday?
Yeah, it's criminal.
Yeah.
I know, right? Yeah, we didn't.
My client said, don't come back until you get this done.
Yeah.
And I'm still not really home.
Oh, are you? Yeah. And it's raining really bad out.
How far did you say?
It took like 45 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Where do you live? They got you, no?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
2 hours later.
Well, we're on the record, back on the record with case number 2306465, LT. And this is people of the, excuse me, this is Uptown 11 townhouses. It's a long day. This is Jacqueline Hearns.
For the record, Your Honor, Cheryl Lockoff on behalf of the plaintiff.
For the record, Jacqueline Rose.
All right, well, we took a recess to see if there was a possibility of settlement, and I understand that the parties have been working hard to, in fact, settle this matter. So, Ms. Luckoff, you want to put those terms on the record?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, the parties have agreed to the entry of a conditional dismissal, which provides as follows, and I'd like to explain to the court that the numbers I'm giving are the balance due, but the further orders explain what we're doing with respect to that. So rent is $7,747.39. Court costs $169.26. The total balance is $7,916.65 due through today's date, April 17, 2024. The further orders provide the following, or I should say the further conditions. Defendant shall pay $1,575 in addition to the amount stated in 2D by 4/19/2024 in order to remain in possession until May 31st, 2024. Failure to do so will result in the entry of a judgment. Escrow in the amount of 4147 shall be released pursuant to order dated 4/17/24. If defendant fails to vacate by 5/31/24, balance in 2D is not waived.
Okay,
Your Honor, this is also under 4B, so if the defendant fails to comply with any of the terms, it is submitting a judgment and a request for an order of eviction.
okay, so Ms. Hearns, you heard the amount of the conditional dismissal that you would be agreeing to, $7,747.39 and rent plus $169.26 for a total of $7,916.65 due as of today, that you would pay in addition to that amount $1,575 by April the 19th, 2024, in order to remain in possession of the premises until May 31st of 2024. Failure to pay will result in the entry of a judgment for the plaintiff. And writ would then be immediate writ. We have escrow. And I have a separate order for that, but I guess it's 4147 will be released to the plaintiff as part of this settlement agreement, which will be credited towards the amount of $79,1665. If you do not vacate, by the date of the 31st of May, then the balance in 2D would not be waived. So that balance of $79,116 would be waived. Would not be waived. So you understand that?
Yes, this does not mean that I admit to.
Admit to what?
I'm just making sure.
You're admitting that you owe money. Yes, you are. That's what this says. It's the same as if you went to trial and I said you owe money. I just don't know how much the amount would have been.
That's right.
I don't know that I would have been given credits and all this that they gave, whichever they gave, I don't know, but
It's fine.
okay. So that's what that means, that you're admitting to owing that amount. So, and so if you do, everything will be dismissed and remain dismissed. And so you will pay this money, you pay the extra $1,575, we're gonna credit everything, then you'll move out and you'll be just great. You won't have a judgment against you. Do you have any questions?
Oh, man.
Now, I think earlier on you did listen to an advice of rights video that talked about all the rights that you normally would have in a landlord-tenant non-payment of rent case. You understand?
Yes.
Remember that video?
I did listen. I was here. I do remember.
And so you understand that by entering into this agreement, you're waiving the rights to trial and all the other rights that you would have had options for earlier on. You understand that?
I understand.
And did you need me to go over any of those today?
No, you're right.
All right, and I'll make a note of that. Did I miss anything?
No, it's only we're doing the approach with this. It's only
Okay,
signed.
and we, I think scanning all of these in, we got the originals here.
Oh, but that didn't have the defendant's signature on it. Your Honor.
No, you're gonna have to rescan it then.
I'm going to just approach with the.
Would you like me to sign it?
This is the original, so she needs to sign it.
Okay, so this copy is for me then.
Yes, you can get. Okay, so I think that is going to conclude this matter permanently if you do everything you need to do, and I'm sure you will. Okay.
You know, one thing I think that I should clarify, the 1575,
That doesn't apply towards the 79, that's an additional amount.
correct, but she'll pay by 219, it's to the landlord.
It's not to us.
Yeah, just make sure everybody.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a cashier
Yeah.
check that I have to get and pay for, that I have to bring to her.
Yes, right, okay, thank you.
Correct?
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Sometimes
Thank you.
Paper or something that I